Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Late Winner Show. We're talking about Manchester United, obviously, because you can see it from the thumbnail and the background that we have. Um, I'm pretty sure my guest here is not happy with the performances so far. Neither am I. But that's what we're here for. Like, let's deep dive into what the performances against these teams have been under Ranić, and 19 games played so far. How have we fared so far in the season? What are the expectations that we are hoping from United in the next 19 games that they play? But before I go into the details, I have Chris Williams from the Golden Boot podcast. Completely forgot. But how are you doing, Chris? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. I'm doing great, and I'm happy to be back on the show. I've been dying to talk about United because it's been an interesting couple of weeks, shall we say?
I think for some reason I always call you when United's under really bad performances go on.
I know we can never talk about anything fun. It always has to be the bad stuff.
So yeah, but that's it, right? That's how it goes. Before we do proceed, make sure that you follow us. Or give us a follow on the Late Winner Show. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. We have like loads of content that we create. Gets posted on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, make sure that you give us a follow so that you know that there's an episode or any kind of news that's been coming up. Busy month, we all know, because of the transfer week. So we're going to keep posting anything any latest news we hear about the players. But yeah, let's talk about United. But let's start with the Wolves that just happened. We lost 1-0. I mean, you look at the first half, we were definitely not good, and we would have, I mean, I wouldn't be wrong if we were already 2-0 down at the half, because we were so poor. But we kept it, we still kept it at 0-0 because Wolves themselves don't score that many goals. You come into a second half where you had a brief period, where you had a brief patch between 50 to 65 minutes where United kind of dominated, and they should have scored. To be very honest, they should have at least opened the scoring, even it would have come back with a 1-1 draw at least. But they looked good in that patch, but they again didn't look like ruthless in front of goal, which everybody hoped when we saw the game against Burnley. But how did you feel about the game?
I thought it was a pretty abysmal performance, team-wise, from United. It was not good at all. Like you said, the first half was pretty bad. I actually checked out of the first half at times. I was just looking at my phone, looking at what other fans had to say, what journalists were tweeting out. And yeah, I just couldn't bear to watch it at times because it's such a talented group of guys, and they just can't seem to get it to work. And I know Luke Shaw came out after the match and said that he felt like they weren't playing together as a team, and he felt like it was just a bunch of individuals playing on the field, and that he feels that the whole squad has a lot of motivation issues, and that he hopes that Rangnick can come up with some different ideas to get this team going. So it was a very poor performance. I mean, Bruno could have scored, hit the crossbar. Nothing you can really do about that. I've hit the crossbar many times in my day as well, far too many times. So I know what it feels like. But yeah, it was just a very poor performance. But they didn't deserve to really get a result from it. Wolves were by far the better team, and I think that's kind of been the tale of United this whole entire season. They crawl their way back, and we've had to rely on Cristiano Ronaldo way too many times to score, a 90th minute or a stoppage time winner. And that's just not going to win you many football games in the grand scheme of things. And it certainly is not going to win you the Premier League. I mean, you see Man City, they don't have to rely on someone scoring in the 90th minute in order to get a result. So, we're never going to be at that level if we keep playing like this. But it just seems like there's some toxicity in the changing room, some lack of morale, some lack of motivation, and Rangnick really has to try to figure things out.
And why do you think that is? Like, because I mean, you said it that there's such a talented group, And I mean, some people might just argue, even like if they have like the best squad in Premier League, if not the best. But why does these performances keep coming back? Like when we were under Oli, we kept saying that there's no formation, there's no tactics, it's just group of individuals. We just keep hoping that Bruno or Ronaldo keep giving us like those most moments of brilliances, and we keep like winning games, and he keeps his job. Now there's a proper tactician who's come into the United group. It's still not working. I mean, as a matter of fact, I don't even see, for all the games that I've seen under Rangnick, I don't even see Ronaldo on the pitch. Like it's been so poor from him. Maybe that's the formation. Do you feel like the 4-2-2 formation is actually something that we should go away from, because that's not helping with the group of players that we actually have?
Yes, I believe that players are frustrated with the formation. You hear reports that players aren't happy because Rangnick's making them run too much at practice. He's kind of putting them through boot camp a little bit, and I exaggerate that, but yeah, I definitely think the formation asks a lot of the players. It asks you to be tactically very together. And the problem is we have a group of individuals, like under Oli, we sat back, and then once we got the ball, it was 6 or 7 guys forward, do your own thing, try to make a moment, right? And now that United is under Rangnick, you have to play together as a group, and you need everyone in every position to know exactly what they're doing at every time. But you see it when you watch United that a lot of players look confused. We can't get the ball through the midfield because our holding midfield pairing just isn't good enough. Matic alongside McTominay isn't good enough. McTominay had, a great game against Burnley, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it was against Burnley, which is a relegation side. And then you face a better team, and he's non-existent. So, we can't get things going through the midfield. The 2 wide midfielders, I just don't think work either. I think you need a number 10, which is Bruno Fernandes, playing behind forwards, whether it's Ronaldo and Cavani or just one forward. I really think a 4-3-3 would work best for United. You get your 4, you get 2 holding midfielders, and then so you have like a 6 and 8, and then a 10, and then you have 2 wingers with Ronaldo in the middle, and then you can sub on Cavani if you want. I think that's the best way to get it going, really, because especially you'll just be able to feed Ronaldo more. But when you have a midfield that doesn't have the ability to really find the forwards in this formation, it just doesn't work, and it just leaves a massive gap between the front line and the midfield.
4-3-3. I'm agreeing with you. There is another possibility that I just thought about is 4-1-3-2. The only problem with that I see, I don't know why. Again, like I thought, like even when Rani came in, I thought there might be certain changes within the team. I'm still not seeing Van de Beek. I'm still seeing Fred and McTominay playing a lot of games. So I don't really get it. With 4-1-3-2, I really feel, again, the problem is that we don't have like a proper CDM. That's one of the issues, because I see like if 4-1-3-2 goes out, that's a good formation, because you'll have like the two wingers in the name of Sancho and Rashford, or we have a lot of wingers we can play in that, and then Bruno playing as the proper number 10 role, and then you have that number 6 where you can either we can play Matic, who is a proper like a CDM, but he's not going to give you 90 minutes every week. It's not really possible with the age. So either we go into the market and actually buy a CDM so that the holding midfield actually sits back in between the 2 defenders and then goes on to play from there. Because you compare any of the good teams that are above United, all of them have a proper CDM, and that's why they are successful at what they're doing. With the attack that United has, they need a proper person who sits back and makes sure that it's communicated. Like the entire backline is in proper communication on what to do. Right now, I just don't see that. Like and we've talked about this on the pod as well. Like how Fred and McTominay are much better going forward, and that's what you could see when you played against Burnley, when Matic gave McTominay the freedom to go ahead and just attack. you could see how brilliant he was. But were we getting ahead of ourselves? Definitely, yes. All of us, I think me included, I think we were like, oh, this is the kind of performance that we need, and we're like, yeah, we're going to defeat Wolves like at least 2 goals to nil. But it didn't happen because Wolves are definitely more intelligent side. They don't really concede a lot of goals. They have like really good players all around them. They have, and the players, who the player who's been linked to us is Ruben Neves, who you saw like had a really really good game.
Yes, he did. And I totally agree with that. And I think if Manchester United gets a proper CDM who, is young and isn't the same age as Nemanja Matic, then you'll be able to replace Freddie McTominay with the likes of Donny van de Beek if you want to experiment with that. You can play your CDM as the 6. You can put Van de Beek as the 8 and then get Bruno as the 10 and experiment with that. I think that could be a proper solution. But, that's obviously formation-wise and tactics. But, from the leaks that we've heard within the past 24 to 48 hours, it sounds like there's a lot more wrong at the club than just formation and tactics. But nevertheless, a proper CDM is needed at Manchester United, whether it's, Declan Rice would be ideal. It probably won't be Declan Rice. But, yeah, like you said, it's definitely what Manchester United needs in order to start seeing some drastic improvement just in playing and tactics.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not, you wouldn't say that it's all fault of Ranić. I mean, he's been into the club what, like a month, I guess a
Yeah.
month. That's it. And in that month, he's not gotten the 15-day break that we got. We haven't really trained because of COVID outbreak in our club, so you can't really blame him. He's basically got what, 2.5 weeks of training out of them. It
Yeah.
didn't help us because we were like, okay, let's get these runs of games. With the one that got postponed, I think it was one against Brighton and the other one was against can't remember.
Can you?
But those two games were pretty easy for us, right? I mean, if those games were actually gone ahead, you would have gotten a full month of preparation, full month of training onto the pitch, and these little bit tougher games that we obviously talked about when we're talking about these fixtures, Wolves, Villa, and West Ham. Those
Yeah.
are like the couple of or 3 fixtures we talked about, definitely that might provide a hiccup. We didn't really expect anything from Newcastle. They gave us a run for their money. We probably deserve to lose that. I would easily say that. And that masterclass De Gea save that happened in the end moments. But you don't think that it's all fault of Ranić here, right? Like if he's given the time, I mean, obviously he's here for an interim coach, so maybe they're all expecting like everything to be turned around in quick time. But come on, like 2.5 weeks of training doesn't really give us a lot of time.
Yeah, and it doesn't give United much time, and it doesn't give Ranić a lot of time either. But I don't think he's doing himself a lot of favors in game to really help that cause, because if you just watched the Wolves game, when Mason Greenwood got subbed in the 50-something minute, he got booed off the field. And it wasn't Greenwood that was getting booed off. It was the whole entire Old Trafford was booing Ranić's decision to replace him, because at that moment in time, Mason Greenwood was the only forward trying to do anything and combine an attack. And yes, sometimes he was taking shots from 20, 30 yards out that, are audacious, and, you really have to pray that it goes in. But he was the bright spot in that attack, and Ranić decided, you know what, I'm going to sub him off. So I think his substitutes have been questionable. Donny van de Beek hasn't featured in a couple games, the last 2 games, I think. Under Ranić in the Premier League, he's only played 6 minutes, and he's only started 1 game, which was the game against Young Boys in the Champions League. Jesse Lingard hasn't gotten a chance. Eric Bailly is frustrated with game time. So he's not really doing himself many favors in the team selection and the man management necessarily. And certainly the formation, because the players just aren't getting it down. But to be fair, like we said, it's only been a couple weeks, so everyone that's saying Ranić out is just being really reactionary. Like you can't react just to a poor spell and say get the interim manager who's only been here for 30 days out. Absolutely not.
No,
He
I
needs time.
really, yeah. Again, I don't think I believe I agree with that. Just again because it's been such a short time, but I also understand, the amount of players, the amount of big signings that we've had. Come on, like do we really think like Sancho, Ronaldo, Varane playing in a Europa Conference League? That'll be a
Yeah.
shame, right? Come on. So
Yeah.
we can't. We I think that's what I think everyone's actually really focused on, but not the fixtures. It's more. It's like I think even all the United players are thinking about we're sitting in seventh. We might have to play Europa Conference League, and
Yeah.
we don't think like the likes of Ronaldo like really want to play.
No.
Uh,
And I
so
think
it's
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just say if that happens, you lose Ronaldo in the summer. Absolutely, he's not going to be playing there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think his time. He knows that his time is almost over, and I don't think he would want to waste time in playing. Be in a club where it's still like probably rebuilding. Where we thought about, as United fans, we thought about it that in the summer that the rebuilding is probably over, and this is the time we probably now start, challenging, but nowhere close, nowhere close.
Yeah.
Um, but who do you think in terms of signings, and do you really think that we do need to bring in someone at the moment, or do you think that the squad is okay and we're still going to be okay if we give Ranić the time, he will be able to figure things out and we will be able to land a top four finish?
We absolutely need a center defensive mid, as we highlighted before. That absolutely has to happen in January. No matter who it is, you just get him in, and he's better than whatever options we have as our current number 6. That's definitely what Rangnick has to prioritize. I know he said like incoming transfers in January might not be that likely. There might be some departures, whether it's Martial. I know a report came out from ESPN yesterday that Donny van de Beek is going to be looking for a loan deal until the end of the season, despite Rangnick saying that he's going to get playing time. Who knows, maybe Jesse Lingard might be looking to go. I've seen reports that Juan Mata might be leaving. So there are going to be departures, that's for sure. And if there are departures, maybe you can get some money to buy a center defensive mid. But I think in the long run, you need a center defensive mid, absolutely. You need to get rid of a lot of players. You have to offload them, so then you can bring in some new talent as well who really want to fight for the badge and want to commit to the style that Rangnick's playing, rather than the lack of motivation that they have right now. Whether I don't know what's causing that, but there have been players that have been at the club for years, really, that aren't putting in good performances, and there's a big problem behind that. So he has to figure that out. But you look at the back line as well. You desperately need another center back. We thought that Varane and Maguire were going to be Manchester United's 2 main center backs. And I mean, Varane has had injury problems and he's looked good when he plays. I mean, he's Raphael Varane. But Harry Maguire has not looked good all season. If I was Rangnick, I would question whether I'm starting him. Phil Jones put in an inspirational performance this week. I'm not saying he's your answer, but given current form, I think he starts over Harry Maguire. Victor Lindelof's out injured. Eric Bailly, frustrated with game time and unfortunately a little bit injury prone. But you really have to figure out that center back pairing because they just get overrun all the time. And then maybe you can look to, decide what you're doing with between Shaw and Tellez, what you're doing between Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot right now, because they're all good. I think Luke Shaw is exceptional. Wan-Bissaka is great. Dalot is great as well. They're all Tellez is great. They're all good, but each has different areas to their game that they're good at, and you need very good all around fullbacks, wingbacks, and
But do you really think Shaw is I've seen the 2 games that Shaw's played. Do you really think that Shaw's better than Tellez, and actually he suits the system much better? I feel like the way Rangnick wants to play is more attacking football. and he wants that, and the formation that he plays, obviously we all know, like he wants the fullbacks to actually go provide that width. So in that case, I think because of Shaw's suffering from like confidence, I feel like Telles has a much more, I think at least the Telles has a much more better delivery into the box. With the players that we've had in the box, it's Ronaldo and Cavani, who've been playing in the last 3 games at least. I think they can easily score a good goal if a quality ball arrives into the box, right?
Yeah, I think that Luke Shaw and Alex Telles' delivery is like for like. They're on par with each other. Telles actually might have a better delivery, but it's only slightly better. So I also think that Luke Shaw, he's been getting caught out a lot defensively. Yeah, especially in the beginning of the season, he was like 50 yards away from where he's supposed to be, and that was a problem. But the big problem that people see with Alex Telles is on the defensive side. He's great going forward because he was initially a winger who was converted into a wing back. Same thing with 𝗕𝗲𝗪. They're fantastic going forward, and then they're still good defensively, but they're not up to par where they probably should be defensively. So that's what United really has to figure out. But yeah, Luke Shaw is out of form. Kind of the same thing that you see with Rashford and Harry Maguire. I mean, Rashford had a very long injury, as we know, and he had a very long recovery period. But Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw came back from the Euros really off their game, and they've never really seemed to recover from it. I think Luke Shaw has recovered from it more than Harry Maguire has. But Luke Shaw is nowhere near the level that he was last season, when I thought he was one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in Europe at that time.
We did a best series just after the Euros, and we included him in the top 3 debate. And he's fallen so far. Like he's like really, I don't really even think he's in the top 10 right now. That's the drop that has been. Harry Maguire has he's not even the top 100, I guess. Like I think he was he was so poor against Burnley. Like I couldn't believe it. Like he was like, Burnley are fighting for relegation. You're not even good against them. You gave a goal. I really believe he gave that goal, even though we won. Like scoreline would suggest, we won comfortably 3-1. But there were a couple of moments in the game like where if things could have gone not on his side, and we could have been again hoping for a De Gea miracle. It could have just been. So I'm really, and I agree with you, and I said this on some other pod as well, that I think Rangnick really needs to see the performances that Maguire is actually putting in, and not just seeing he's the captain and he just by default is in the team sheet. It's looking really, really bleak for him right now, to be very honest. I think he's on thin ice, and he needs to be really seriously looked at when team sheets come out, when performances are being reviewed of the game. And he really needs to be looked at and seeing he's consistently putting 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 performances, which is not good. When we're looking for proper center back pairing, he's not good. He's really not good at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's something else that Rangnick might have to deal with is Harry Maguire going to be Manchester United's captain? Is it going to be Cristiano Ronaldo instead? Is it going to be somebody else? Because that's just something I've questioned a lot, because you see Harry Maguire play, and yeah, he's vocal, but he's off his game right now. And when you're off your game, does that impact how you lead your team forward?
Yeah.
And you have one of the winningest players to ever play the game in Cristiano Ronaldo. So do you give him the armband instead? And who else would you rather have lead Manchester United? I mean, he is the face of the club. He knows how to win. He's captain of Portugal. He's captained every team he's played for. So, maybe.
But can I just critique him for one thing? And I guess even Bruno, they need to stop whining. They just whine a lot in the games, and I just don't like it. If he wants to become, if he is to become the captain of Manchester United, I think he needs to show some real leadership and stop whining about stuff. And I think that needs to be communicated over to Bruno as well, because I think
Yeah.
it's not like he started this within the last 19 games that he's played. It's been going on for a long time. He just gets frustrated a lot, and that needs to stop. Like, I think that needs to stop, really.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Cristiano Ronaldo is he's 36 years old. You're not going to change anything about him. He
Yeah,
is one of the most winningest players to ever play. He's one of the greatest players to ever touch a ball. So you're not going to change anything about him, about his game, about how he handles himself, because no matter what he's done in his career, he's always won. So yeah, maybe you can say he complains a lot, but it's got him a lot of places.
yeah. I mean, I think he's been.
Despite
Yeah, I think, like, for the entirety of his career, probably this is the worst possible team that he's playing for. And I mean,
yeah,
Juventus, who who didn't even play well in the last season, but he still was able to get results for them. It's just not happening for him over here, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's official that Manchester United are depressing, but well, let's move along and just talk a little bit about future prospect.
Yeah.
Things can definitely change. We still have another, and I keep repeating this because it's a fact that we, for the next 2 months, we have a really good fixture run. Even though the 6 games that Rangnick's played in, he's only won 3. And but things can definitely change. Let's look at, I'm expecting a result. I'm expecting a response against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, and then again in the Premier League the next Sunday. I'm hoping that United and Rangnick can figure out something that fits the bill, fits the team, fits the formation. Everything is working, and try it out for the like at least a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and see where it takes them. Because right now, nothing is basically working. You're again relying on individual moments where you could win the game. It's
Yep.
still not a cohesive performance, and I'm not going to count that Burnley game, because Burnley is Burnley, and so I'm not going to count that, because all of the games that we played in it's been a very cagey affair. You look at Crystal Palace game, and you could argue that IU goal could have actually gone in, and until Fred scored. Norwich game was a penalty, and probably again Norwich were like the better side in that game. Newcastle should have won. Burnley, obviously, we talked about. Young Boys is again that was a young squad, and then we played against Wolves, who we lost. So I think that things can definitely come up, but I think there's serious training, serious things that need to happen on the backside so that it can show up on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. And it all starts with mentality. And if some players don't want to be there, then I think Rangnick has a hard choice to make. If they'd rather be somewhere else and they want to leave, then you just have to let them leave and bring in players who do want to be there, and who want to work in his system, and want to bring Manchester United to the level that it used to be at, to bring United to the standards that all United fans hold them to, and all journalists, all soccer fans really hold Manchester United to.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has to fix that, whether it's coming into training tomorrow because they had a 2-day break and being like, okay, guys, like, who is leaking this to the press? Who's saying that 11 of you guys don't want to be in the team anymore? Because if that's the case, then we have to have a talk. And if you really don't want to be here, we'll look for ways to, give you what you want, get a transfer, and we'll bring up some kids from the academy who really want to, play for the first team and really love this club. So they have to figure out the mentality thing, the motivation before anything. And
I kind of liked, like, when he's taking some bold decisions, like, unlike Ollie. He was like, oh yeah, even though I know, like, all of these things being said about Fred and McTominay, I'm still gonna play them because I'm gonna favor them. He's still taking some good bold decisions. Not like he dropped Rashford. He dropped Bruno. I really thought that, and I thought like he actually dropped him against Burnley, but I later realized like he was actually, he was actually already suspended for that game, but he
Yeah, yeah,
dropped
yeah.
him for this game as well. So which makes sense because he's not playing at the level that we hope them to, right? Like, and that's why I said what I said about Harry Maguire as well. Like, you can't be like you can't put him in the team just by default because he's the captain of United. So I really think that he's taking, and that's something that I really admire, because that's something that I want in a coach as well. When you know that your best player is not performing, you take that bold decision to put him on the bench, saying you're not performing at the level that I want. You go back to the bench and work
Absolutely.
harder, train harder, and come back. So I think that's something to look forward into, to look into as well. Again, like he's an interim coach for the next 5 months again, but I think he already said that in the press as well. Like, there are things happening on the backside as well. So, like, to actually hire a full time coach, that's not going to happen anytime soon. I think we won't hear anything about the full time coach until the end of the season, for sure.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, let everyone finish their season, and then I think the talks will go ahead and actually, the manager would come in. But yeah.
Yep, I agree. And there's talk that maybe Rangnick wants the full-time job, but at the end of the day, I think it is best that we bring in a Mauricio Pochettino and Erik ten Hag to take over the team and have him advise from above as the technical director, the director of football. I think that is what's really going to be best for Manchester United in the long run. You get some fresh ideas in there.
Yeah.
You get two coaches that really know how to win. Not saying that Rangnick doesn't, because he does.
He's not been in the coaching game for a long time, so it's not like really surprising that he's taking some time himself to actually implement what he wants. He's more like he's been more like in a sporting director role or a technical director role
Yeah.
for the past few years in rebuilding clubs, right? And I guess
Yes.
that's one of the things that we also want as a United fan. I'm looking forward to, like, if somebody can actually come up and actually fix things up at the top. That's something that we want, and I'm actually excited what he does when he gets into that consultancy role for that 2 years. Wow,
Yeah.
for 2 years at least.
Yeah, I am as well. And that there still are concerns about the board not giving the manager or the technical director what they want. The owners, the same problem. But hopefully Rangnick can instill that good footballing mentality into a whole of the club.
Yeah.
And can help bring United back up to, the standard that, I was talking about before. I think that would be great, and I think that's what Manchester United really needs right now. I really do.
So, quick prediction question: top 4 or not?
No, I think
No.
at the rate that things are going, no. If you would have asked me when Rangnick came in, if we would get top 4, I would have said yes, because I expected a bounce. Remember when United signed Ollie as an interim manager, they got that bounce. They got that bounce, and they were so fun to watch. Every game under Ollie for that season was so much fun to watch. But you got a 1-game bounce here where they played attacking football for like 20 minutes of it, and we're like, okay, this is nice. And then the rest of the game was a shambles, and the rest of the season has also been shambles. So, no, I think unless they win the Champions League this season, I think as of right now, there might be some Europa League action on Thursdays next season.
That's it's sad, definitely, because I really hope with the squad that we had, we were consistently going to finish in top 4, at least this season for sure. But it doesn't look like right now. Even at the moment, even if we would have won the Wolves game, I would have said that maybe there's a chance. But having lost that, and the performances that I've seen in the last month, it's still not improved to one bit. So I can't really say that I can't be optimistic and say, like, I'm gonna say that we're gonna finish in top 4. It doesn't look really likely, unless you never know what happens on up top. Like, maybe Tottenham drop points, Arsenal drop points, Liverpool, Chelsea are keep consistently dropping points, week after week, it might just be that the second to the sixth might just open up, and the first one just runs away, because obviously I think nobody's expecting anyhow like now to have a title race anymore. I think City are clear favorites now, so it might just open up just because some of the players that are already missing for the top two, the second and the third club that are currently in the table. We'll just see. We will see what happens, but yeah, I'm expecting definitely a bounce back in the next game against a good Aston Villa side. Not saying that they're a bad team right now, because I think they're being really good coached, even though their last two performances have obviously resulted in defeats. Let's see. Let's hope there's obviously a win, because that's one of the other ambitions that I have, that maybe we can at least win one trophy. I think it's been again another 5 years we've not won a trophy anymore. So that's one of the that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, like not getting knocked out in the first round that we play in the knockout stages. So hopefully we can proceed a little bit more further in that competition.
Yeah, I think all Manchester United fans can agree with you. And yeah, a Villa team that's linked with 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗕 Coutinho. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they're buzzing that Coutinho might be joining.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I heard like Coutinho is gonna come back. Coutinho is gonna move to a Premier League club by the weekend. That's what.
Yeah, he's linked to 5 clubs, and the only one they're naming is Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess Aston Villa would be a good decent club for him to.
Yeah, what's interesting though, they signed a bunch of attacking players, and they really, I mean, they just haven't gelled as well as I think they expected them to.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what happens, right? I mean, like you.
Yeah, I mean, it's what
a lot of attacking talent. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what happened at Manchester United as well. So I mean, can't really judge too much. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Coutinho does make it back to the Premier League and where he's gonna go.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, exciting times, definitely. I think there are going to be like some surprises along the way in this winter transfer window. Definitely one to look out for is obviously Newcastle, who's obviously I think made a signing in the name of Trippier. Reportedly, he's still not confirmed, but reportedly he's made a move to Newcastle. So it'll be fun to see the likes of those players, fighting for relegation. And let's see what happens. But thank you, Chris, again for joining on to the show, and as always, just discussing Man United with me.
Of course, yeah, I'm very glad to be back. Very glad to discuss Manchester United, despite the hard times at the club. And yeah, we just have to keep waiting to see what's going to happen. Even though it is hard right now, it's exciting to see what changes will be made.
I'm going to promise you next time I invite you is going to be after a win, not a loss.
Okay. I'll be waiting. I'll eagerly be waiting.
All right. But yeah, do make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Give us a subscribe. We're very close to 300 subscribers, almost like 15 away. So definitely hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and also hit the like button. Definitely helps us with the YouTube algorithms and all. But that's all from the Late Winner Show today. Definitely come back and discuss. We're coming back with loads more content on the channel. So keep your eyes out, and good night.